My name is Olivia. I am 28 years old. I lived with my older brother, Ethan, who was 5 years older than me. Our parents passed away when I was still a little girl, so Ethan stepped in. He became like a parent to me. He helped me with everything and always made me feel safe. Ethan was not just my brother. He was my protector, my best friend, and the person I trusted more than anyone else in the world. 3 years ago, I met Carter. Carter was sweet, funny, and very kind. He listened carefully whenever I talked. He remembered the little things about me, like my favorite coffee or the stories I shared. Carter often made me feel special. He would surprise me with flowers, bring me coffee when I looked tired, and tell me he felt lucky to have me in his life. I fell in love with him very quickly. Everything felt so right when I was with him. Carter and I often talked about the future. We dreamed of a small house, maybe 2 kids, and even a dog. I really thought I had found the one I would spend my life with. I talked about Carter a lot with Ethan. Ethan would smile and say, "He sounds like a good guy, Olivia. I'm happy for you." Sometimes, the 3 of us spent time together. Ethan would come over for dinner, and we would laugh and joke around. I felt like I had the perfect life, a loving boyfriend and a caring brother who got along so well. But slowly, things began to change. Carter started acting distant. He didn't text me as much as before. He stopped calling me beautiful or telling me how much he loved me. When I asked him if something was wrong, he would just say, "I'm tired from work." At the same time, Ethan also began pulling away. He stopped coming over, and when I invited him for lunch, he would say, "Sorry, I'm busy today." Deep in my heart, I felt something was wrong, but I didn't want to believe it. I kept telling myself that maybe they were just busy. Maybe I was just overthinking everything. I didn't want to destroy the happy life I had built in my mind. I tried to stay positive, thinking that things would get better soon. But the feeling of sadness inside me kept growing, and I couldn't ignore it anymore. I needed to know the truth. One evening, I decided to surprise Carter. I cooked his favorite dinner, pasta with garlic bread, and made a chocolate cake for dessert. I packed everything carefully and went to his apartment, feeling excited. When I reached his building, I noticed something strange. The door to his apartment was slightly open. Carter always locked his door, so it made me feel uneasy. I slowly pushed the door open. The apartment was very quiet. I heard voices coming from the living room. I recognized Carter's voice, but the other voice, it was Ethan's. My heart started beating faster. I tiptoed closer, trying not to make a sound. What I saw next made my world fall apart. Carter and Ethan were sitting very close on the couch. Carter had his hand on Ethan's shoulder. They were laughing together, sharing a secret moment. I stood frozen, not able to believe what I was seeing. My brother and my boyfriend. Why were they acting so close? Why were they hiding things from me? Then Ethan looked up and saw me. His smile disappeared at once. Carter also turned around quickly and stood up, looking scared. "Olivia, it's not what it looks like," Carter said in a panicked voice. I couldn't say a word. My hands started shaking. I dropped the food bag. The containers cracked open, and the food spilled onto the carpet. Tears filled my eyes. I turned around and ran out of the apartment without listening to their shouts. I didn't stop. I didn't want to hear any excuses. The cold night air hit my face as I ran, but nothing could cool down the fire of pain inside me. I reached home, locked the door, and sat on my bed, crying harder than I ever had in my life. All I could think about was them, their laughter, their closeness, and the secrets they kept from me. I couldn't sleep that night. I just lay on my bed, staring at the ceiling, asking myself so many questions. Why didn't they tell me the truth? Was I not enough for Carter? How long had this been happening behind my back? I felt broken, abandoned, and lost. The two people I trusted most had betrayed me. My heart ached more with each passing hour, but I didn't know what to do. The next morning, my best friend Chloe called. She heard something strange in my voice and asked, "Olivia, are you okay?" I couldn't hold it in anymore. I broke down and told her everything. Chloe listened carefully without interrupting me. When I finished, she said softly, "You need to talk to them. You deserve the truth, even if it hurts." Her words stayed in my mind. She was right. I needed to hear it from them. The next day, I made a decision. I messaged Carter and Ethan, asking them to meet me at a small cafe in the park. I didn't want any more lies or delays. When they arrived, I saw guilt written all over their faces. I didn't waste time. I sat down and said firmly, "Tell me the truth. I need to know what's going on." Ethan looked down at the table, ashamed. Carter took a deep breath, but said nothing at first. Finally, Ethan spoke. Ethan said, "Olivia, I didn't plan for this to happen. I didn't know how to tell you." Carter added, "We didn't mean to hurt you. We were just scared. We didn't know how you would react." I asked, my voice shaking, "How long has this been going on?" Carter looked at me and said, "About 6 months. I felt like my heart was breaking all over again. 6 months of lies, 6 months of betrayal." I asked them, "Why didn't you tell me the truth instead of lying every day?" They both apologized again and again, but their words couldn't fix the hole in my heart. I stood up and said, "You both broke my heart. I need time to heal. Right now, I just need space." Without looking back, I walked away, feeling more alone than I had ever felt in my life. The days after that meeting were the hardest days of my life. I cried every night. I didn't know who to trust anymore. The people I loved most had hidden such a big secret from me. But slowly, little by little, I began to heal. I started painting again, something I loved but had stopped doing. I took long walks in the park. I focused on myself instead of thinking about them. I stopped blaming myself for what happened. It wasn't my fault. It wasn't about me not being enough. It was about them making choices they were too scared to explain. 1 week later, I agreed to meet Carter and Ethan again. I needed to close this chapter properly. I sat across from them and said, "I forgive you, but things can never be the same again. I need to build my own life now." And I meant every word. Sometimes, the people who hurt you the most are the ones you trusted the most. But that doesn't mean your story ends there. You can grow. You can heal. You can start over. Life doesn't stop just because people break your heart. Sometimes, it pushes you to find your own strength. The strength you never knew you had before.